Talk TV. Again, you'll see we're not in the studio today. We are coming to you live from the MSU campus to bring awareness to all the good things that CAST, that is Child Advocacy Studies Training, is doing. And I hope by the end of the show, you not only know what CAST stands for, but you understand it fully. And to continue in our conversation, we've got Shannon Warnock. She's the Executive Director of External Affairs with Mississippi Child Protection Services with us. And you are part of, or the Mississippi Child Protection Services is part of that multidisciplinary team that we're learning that's all coming together across the state to be advocates for children, which I think is definitely a good thing. And I think that's the thing, Shannon, I'm taking a part of this is as we're listening and sort of putting all the pieces together of how CAST works and how the Children's Advocacy Centers of Mississippi work too, is we're just building a force. We're just trying to get a force in Mississippi that has advocating for children at the heart of it. And I think we can all get behind that because that's what you guys do every single day at Child Protective Services. Now, that can be a four-letter word for some people when they hear CPS, right? I know you've heard that before. But when you come across folks who are like, what is it that you guys do? How do you sort of sum it up and sort of share the work that y'all do every day?
Well, thank you for asking. I think that's a very important question, and it is a misnomer. People think that all we do is take children away from their parents. And that is not what we do. What we do is we try to protect children from difficult, dangerous circumstances. And reunification of children with their families, with their parents, with their kinfolk, that's the priority. And as long as we can do that safely, in conjunction with the courts and all of the other supportive systems in our community, that's what we want to do. If it cannot be that a child can be with a family member, then we look for other options, foster families, ultimately adoption, if that's what we have to do to keep a child safe. But we have in-circle programs, we have supportive programs that help keep families together. We work with the courts, we work with a lot of other community partners to try to help keep families united in all of the cases where we can.
And hopefully, too, prevention of it happening or it being a generational sort of thing or, a cycle kind of thing. I mean, there's so much good work that the Child Protection Services does, and unfortunately, sometimes it's just, it's a hard job. It's not a fun topic, but, you want at least somebody out there that's got the child's best interest at mind. And what we're learning today is there's a lot of folks out there, a lot of different programs that have the child's best interest at mind, and the more people we can get as child advocates, then the more children we're going to be able to help, the more light that's shined on it. Hopefully, the less, we'll see a prevalence of it, a long-term thinking. Obviously, that's casting the wide vision of it. And that brings back the CAST. Look what I did there. CAST, Child Advocacy Study Training, which is helping get more into the workforce of being child advocates, not creating a new workforce. It's creating a force within the workforce that can see that. From your perspective, Shannon, working there at the Child Protection Services on a daily basis, what kind of lifeline are these type of trainings?
Oh, they're critical. They are critical, particularly this one specifically has helped us to broaden the horizons of many of those who come to work for us. Social work itself is a very difficult job. It's a vocation where one is called. And to have young people coming out of colleges, university, higher ed, who have had the experiential learning and the opportunity to maybe work through simulations of a mock trial or a mock courtroom circumstances, or even to go into a home with actors where they go through role play and see what it's really like to make a call and to investigate abuse, neglect, or exploitation is critical. It helps us to, it helps those social workers, young new social workers, I should say, inexperienced, so to speak, come out of school maybe and better leverage their education because they're more prepared. We are hearing that from our workforce is telling us, those who have been through this program or have the certification, that they are more prepared because of those simulations and those classes that are specifically designed to help them understand what's expected and how to participate in a multidisciplinary investigation with law enforcement, nursing, educators. So I think that this this program itself is critical to maybe helping us continue to retain good workers and recruit even more prepared social workers.
I just keep thinking the word coming to mind is building confidence, right? I mean, no matter what your field of profession is, the first time you graduated and you got on the job, it's like, you got Bambi legs. It's like you're nervous, you feel a little, but then imagine if your job is having to knock on a door or having to go to a courtroom or having to do these like tough things within your first couple of weeks of work, which social workers often have to do. I mean, and then you don't want to screw that up. What do I do with my hands? What do I say? How do I not do it wrong? And you definitely don't want to affect the child any more than they already have been. It's such a delicate situation. I would be the type that would be like, yes, run me through all the things. I want to know, all the ifs, ands, or buts that could come. And I feel like, most would feel that way. So how long has CAST, Child Advocacy Studies Training, been available or been out? Carla? How long have we had CAST training? So 2015. Okay, so it's been several years now. So now we're seeing the fruits of the labor.
Yes.
From it.
As I understand, it began here at Mississippi State University, and there are at least 4 certificate programs already and maybe 5 minors in development. I'm kind of looking for I'm looking for my cheat notes right here.
No, that's fine. And her name is Carla. She's wearing a beautiful top. But I think it's good to know if anyone's listening, and thinking of going into social work, or maybe they're having a second calling in life, but they don't, they have fears or reservations about coming in. To me, knowing that there would be training like this would help me break down those barriers of feeling more confident, going back to that word confident, to maybe go into it. Because I just would be one that wouldn't want to screw it up. That would be where I would come from as a professional. I just don't want to make it worse.
And I completely understand that. I do not work with children and families on a daily basis in my role at the agency, but understanding the significance of the decisions that you make as a caseworker is very daunting. And so I think confidence is important, because when you make a decision, it's a very important decision. It's either a decision to take a child from a parent or a decision to tell the court, the totality of the circumstances. And it is a daunting decision, especially if you don't have a lot of life experience, even as a parent yourself, or just coming out of school and looking for a new, approaching any new job. Confidence and the level of confidence that one can get from a program like this is important.
It's also important for those that maybe feel that call or feel that tug, or for whatever reasons miss or just hearsay or whatever about being a caseworker, they've shunned away from it. I would say, Shannon, tell them their best plea that there's caseworkers that are needed every day, and that you're doing the Lord's work, even though it's hard work. So if someone is interested in that field, what do you say to them to not look past it?
I do believe it's a calling, and I do think that the people who come to work with us to help children and help families are some of the most important people in our community. And doing the Lord's work is a good thing. We've got a wonderful workforce wellness director and a good solid team of people who really surround our workforce and make every attempt and effort to give them what they need to be well trained, to be appreciated, to understand the importance of self-care. And I think that anyone who wants to help children should have the opportunity to work with us. We are doing the most important work for children in our community. Educators are important, medical professionals are important, but for some specific children in our state, I think that the caseworkers we have working with us are doing the most important work. And we love to have more people come and interview, do an internship with us. We offer that so you can see if this is really what you are.
What kind of degree do you need to do that? Is there a social work degree?
Oh, yes. There are social work degrees. One should work towards licensure as a social worker, and also there are master's level social work opportunities, and we have opportunities through our agency, and we will help you work towards your master's licensure through scholarships. But we will take people with sociology degrees, psychology degrees. We will even take folks with business degrees. We'll
Where
take
can we go for more information?
Our 1-800-222-8000 number is our hotline for reporting neglected children. But if one calls there and says, I'm interested in a job, we'll get you to the right person. And our website is mdcps.com.
All right. Well, thank you so much for your time, Shannon. You guys stick with us. We got so much more good to tell you about CAST. That's Child Advocacy Studies Training coming up next.